Welcome back to Movie Night with Trina Michelle. And thank you for tuning in this week for The Incident, Part 2. So, thank you guys for participating on the blog. The question that I received the most is about Carmen. And if, because she believed in her heart, that she should have been raptured. So this came from the listeners. They came to this conclusion because she agreed to let her husband, Michael, lead her in the sinner's prayer. Now, I've had some really good chatter offline about this, and I also put this on the blog. So here's my take. The Bible says in Romans 10:9, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. So it's not enough just to believe in your heart. The Bible says you must confess with your mouth. So here's another example. Just like the man on the cross when Jesus was being crucified, he believed in his heart and he opened his mouth and said to the other prisoner who was, basically insulting Jesus, he said to him, one sinner to the other, don't you fear God? Since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. He acknowledged that there is a God and that this man, Jesus, belonged to God. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus answered him, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. So listen, my advice, don't have a deathbed confession. Today is the day of salvation. So let's get into it. Last week ended with Carmen awake from her coma and remembering her family. Back in the present, Carmen is hopeful that Courtney is waiting for her. If she's still here, I pray that she made it to the house, she whispers. So you do know what this is? Yeah, I do, Carmen says. Where do you live? Pointing out of the window, right over there, across the river. Minutes later, and dressed in the drab clothing Sarah gave her, Carmen is anxious and ready to leave. No more designer clothes and shoes, Sarah says. This is it. The good stuff is for the wives of the elite and the leaders of the new way. The new way? Yep. It's the way of doing business. The new way of doing anything. The New World Order guy from the Middle East? Carmen asked. You knew? Not 100%, but a close friend and my dad were convinced. Well, they were right. Yeah, turns out they were right about a lot of things. If you insist on finding your sister, there are a few things you should know before leaving. Okay, like what? Carmen says, pacing the floor. Hey, I know you're ready to go, but this information will help save your life. There's a checkpoint at the underpass connecting the two sides of town. The New Way guards are checking IDs and travel passes around the clock. If you get caught without either, you are immediately arrested. The only way to get a pass or a new ID is to pledge your allegiance to the New Way. If you don't, they consider you an enemy of the state until you prove otherwise. Carmen is pacing again. Sarah grabs the backpack from the chair. There's a travel pass with your name on it in this bag. Your home is on this side of town, right? So you won't be needing it today, but one day you might. Holding the bag out to Carmen, she continues, there's a flashlight, food, a blanket, and an extra set of clothing, just in case she's there. Carmen is deeply moved by Sarah's concern for her sister. She takes the backpack, slinging it over her shoulder. Thank you, she says. Thank you for everything. If she's not there, can you get inside the house? Yeah, says Carmen. I buried a key, just in case. Yeah, I know. Well, no time like the present, Carmen says. Opening the door to check the hallway, Sarah says, come on, follow me. You can leave from the basement. In the basement, Sarah turns to Carmen. If you don't find her, the safe house is across town. You'll need your travel pass at the checkpoint. All other roads are blocked. There is one way in and one way out. The safe house is the old Calvary Christian Church. The doorbell is behind the tall bush to the right of the door. Ring 3 times, count to 30, and ring it again in 3 short bursts. Come around the back, sit down behind the bushes closest to the left of the building, and wait. Hugging Carmen close, Sarah continues. Good luck, and please don't tell anyone about the safe house. Our very lives depend on you keeping your mouth shut. Frowning, Carmen steps out of the hug. I'm not being mean, Carmen. I just want to ensure that you understand the seriousness of our situation. Carmen nods as she opens the door. Be careful, Carmen, and whatever you do, stay off of social media. Emerging from the basement, Carmen is overwhelmed. I've not been outside in years, she whispers. Trying to appear normal as possible, Carmen leaves the hospital parking area. She walks around the park and onto her street. It's pitch dark. Walking past her boarded-up home, she cuts through her neighbor's yard, back to her yard. Kneeling down, she digs for the key. Getting nowhere fast, she grabs a stick and continues to dig. Finally, she whispers. Sticking her hand in the hole, she pulls out the key. Looking around the yard, ensuring that no one has followed her, Carmen goes inside. She's adjusting to her surroundings when she hears a scraping sound below. Grabbing a rake from the garage wall, Carmen slowly opens the trap door leading down into the basement. It's musty down here. Hearing the scraping sound again, Carmen turns around. Courtney is dragging a big shovel behind her with tears streaming down her face. Carmen, is that you? Dropping her rake, Carmen throws herself into her sister's arm. Courtney! The sisters stay this way for a while, both crying and looking at each other into total disbelief. Courtney breaks away first. What do you mean it's musty down here? Upstairs in the living room, Courtney says, I'm sorry about Michael and the accident. The rapture happened that night too. Wiping tears from her cheek, she continues, I knew right away. My babies were gone. They simply vanished from their beds. I called Mom and Dad. They didn't answer. I called Junior. He didn't pick up. I gave up hope when you didn't answer. I assumed I was the only one left behind. Had I made it home that night, I was going to be Michael's first convert. Had you made it home that night, you wouldn't be here right now. After a few moments, Carmen asked, when did you come to the house? About a month after the rapture. I remembered the room and figured I'd better get over here. I ditched my SUV. It was safer to walk. People were hijacking cars to leave the city in search of their loved ones. I worked the first few years after the incident. I had to. I was going crazy without someone to talk to, but then it got too dangerous. Moving to the end of her seat. Too dangerous? Carmen asked. Yeah, I didn't know who to trust. One night, a group of people followed me home. It was scary. I stopped going outside after that, and I boarded the windows. You've been in this house over a year? Yep. It's the safest place. Sometimes I hear a knock on the door, but they soon give up and move on. Did you hear me digging for the key? I sure did. Girl, when you opened that back door, that's when I grabbed the shovel, and I was fully prepared to beat you with it too. They both laughed. But I recognized your voice when you said it was musty, and I still don't know how I feel about that. They laugh again. I haven't laughed like this in years, Courtney says. I know it's wrong to say, but I'm so glad you're here. Me too, sis. Me too. Shh, Carmen says. Outside, people are talking. There's a knock at the door, then another, and another. It stops. Peeking out of the window, the sisters watch 3 people with pamphlets walk away. Giggling, they both whisper, Jehovah's Witnesses? A few weeks have passed, and the food supply is low. Carmen walks into the room jiggling keys. It's time for a food run. Where'd you get those? Courtney asked. Under the floor mat. We took my car that night. Michael always left his keys under the mat. Oh, okay, sure, let's go. Fresh air sounds good. This may be our last trip for a while. Let's get as much food as possible, Carmen says. What about money? Sitting down at the desk, Carmen opens the drawer, taking out a locked box, then feeling under the desk, she holds up a key. Oh my God, Carmen. Or should I say 007, you are way too much. Opening the box, she pulls out 2 stacks of money, 2-way radios, and a gun. Carmen! Checking the gun for bullets, she says. I don't plan to use it, but I will if I'm forced to. Tossing Courtney a 2-way radio, she says, the reception is good for 1,000 yards. Put it on channel 5. 1,000 yards? How far is that? And how do you know that? Not exactly sure how far it is, but the reception is good as far as the park across the river. Michael and I tested the range, just in case. Tucking the gun into her pants behind her back, Carmen and Courtney leave for the store. Inside of the grocery store, both carts are full and ready for checkout. In the line ahead of them, a young woman with a baby is shouting at the cashier. My baby needs food. She's hungry. Please, let me have some food. I have the money. Let me see your mark, the cashier states. I don't have a mark. Then you can't buy the food. Please, my baby is hungry. An armed guard steps to the young woman, grabbing her arm. Come with me, miss. We can give you the mark, just behind those doors. Carmen and Courtney turn to look. They see a line forming in the back. Shoppers are coming out of those doors with their foreheads stamped with the mark of the beast. Turning back, the guard is forcing the young woman out of line to the back of the store. No, I can't take the mark. My granny said never take the mark. Courtney is yelling after a man as he runs off toward the guard and the woman. Grabbing the woman from the guard, they both run out of the store. Was that? Before Carmen can ask, Courtney cuts her off. Yes, that was Pookie, my baby daddy. That's his sister and niece he's dragging out of here. The guard turns his attention to Carmen and Courtney. We need to go, Carmen whispers. Leaving the food, the sisters walk toward the exit. The guard is following. Run, Carmen shouts. The guard is running and shouting. Stop! Stop them! Stop them! The sisters keep running. Gunshots are fired. They dive to the ground right outside the door. A loud siren wails in the store. A voice booms over the loudspeaker. All New Way personnel report to the MARC station at once. All New Way personnel report to the back of the store immediately. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're killing them. They're killing them, a lady shouts as she runs past the sisters. Carmen and Courtney get to their feet. Catching up with the lady, Carmen asks, killing who? The guards. They are killing the people refusing to take the MARC. Looking over at Carmen, Courtney asks, what about the car? Leave it, Carmen yells. Safely back at home, the sisters are still on edge. Now what? Courtney asks. Before Carmen can answer, loud banging is coming from upstairs. Someone is screaming Courtney's name. Carmen quickly turns to Courtney. It's Pookie, Courtney says. I told him that we had food for them. What? You did what? I'm sorry, Carmen. That was before everything happened at the store. Standing from the bed, Carmen asks, you told him to come here? Yes. You heard that baby crying. They are like family. He is my baby's father. I don't care who he is or about that baby crying for that matter. This is for us. You don't mean that, Carmen? Oh, yes, I do. And keep your voice down. They go upstairs. Pookie's sister, her baby, and his mama are at the door. Pookie is yelling. Open the door, Courtney. Open the door. I know you're in there. Carmen puts her fingers to her lips. Shh. Pookie keeps banging on and yelling. Come on. Come on. 3 men appear, banging on the boarded windows. Carmen runs to the basement. Pookie's friends knock a hole in the board, breaking the glass. Carmen returns with the gun. Suddenly, a buzzing sound, and then screams. Pookie is shouting again, pointing at his truck. Get in the truck! Get in the truck! Pookie family climbs into the truck. His friends are fighting off the bugs. Jumping into the truck, Pookie starts the engine, leaving the house and his friends screaming after him. Where are the boards? Crying, Courtney says. In the garage. Grabbing the boards, Carmen is back. Courtney's at the window. Give it to me. I'll do it. It's my fault. It's my fault they were here in the first place. Covering the hole, Courtney screams out, Ouch! Rushing to her side, reaching for her. Let me see. Let me see. Did it sting you? Taking her hand away, still in her feelings, Courtney says, I got it. I'm good. Waking from a fitful sleep, Carmen hears crying. Courtney, what's wrong? Sticking out her hand, it's red and swollen. She's pretty certain it's infected. Touching Courtney's forehead, she says, You're burning up. Hold on. Returning with water and aspirin. Here, take these. I'm sorry, Carmen. I was a fool. I was a fool to say anything to Pookie. None of this would be happening if I kept my big mouth shut. Girl, You can never keep anything shut around Pookie. The sisters giggle. Before Courtney can say another word, Carmen cuts her off. Shh, no, I'm not mad. And yes, I forgive you. Now get some rest. The next morning, Courtney's condition is worse and is in need of something stronger than aspirin. Grabbing a jacket, a stack of money, and her gun, Carmen stuffs them into a pocket. In the other pocket, a two-way radio. After checking the channel on the other radio, she places it on the bed beside Courtney. Where are you going? I'll be right back. I'm going to the hospital. What about the bugs? They're gone. Lie back and get some rest. My friend Sarah, she's a nurse. She'll know what to do. Right before she leaves, Carmen grabs a pair of shaded goggles from the desk. What are those for? You plan on swimming across the river? Oh, I see. Somebody got jokes. No, I don't. The sun is extra bright today. I may need these. Well, unless you have a pair of Dolces laying around. The emergency room is packed. Most are delirious with fever from the bug stings. Others are suffering from gigantic sores all over their bodies. Catching Carmen's eye, Sarah motions for her to follow. In the room, after closing the door, they embrace. What are you doing here, Carmen? It's my sister. She got stung. Is the stinger still in? No, but it's infected. Okay. There's hope. There's hope she'll live. Wait here. Sarah returns with the medicine to find Carmen pacing. What do you mean there's hope she'll live? Can she die? Had the stinger lodged into her hand? Yes, I'm afraid so. Holding up a small syringe filled with liquid, Sarah continues, but it didn't. So, give her this immediately. Do I have to stick her? No, just have her swallow it. Pointing to a pill bottle, she says, then one of these twice a day until they're gone. I wrote it down on a piece of paper in the bag. Zipping the bag, Sarah hands it over to Carmen. She stuffs it into her pocket without taking her eyes off of Sarah. You know they are forcing people to take the mark, Carmen says. Yeah, I heard. What about you? What about me? Sarah asked. Will you be forced to take the mark? It's possible, but for now, they need all hands on deck to treat the sick. Okay. Stop looking at me like that, Sarah snaps. I will not be taking the mark. Turning to leave, Carmen says, I gotta get back to Courtney. Wait. I'm happy you found her. Hold on. Let me make sure the coast is clear. Sarah peeks out the door. Okay, it's clear. Clear of whom? Carmen asks. The guards. They can get a little aggressive. Should I be worried? No, just careful. But if they try to stop you, run. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for everything. Thank you for helping my sister. You're welcome. If you need me, you know where to find me. Yes, yeah, I remember. Making her way to the exit, Carmen sees the same guard from the store fast approaching. Hey, don't I know you? Carmen runs. Stop her! Stop her! The guard yells. A rent-a-cop steps into Carmen's path. Pulling the gun from her pocket, still running, she points it at him. Move. He does. Carmen is out of the door and in the parking lot when the first shots are fired. Out of nowhere, the sun pops out of the sky, right on top of her. It's scorching hot. People are running into the hospital. She loses sight of the guard. Carmen runs full speed in the other direction toward the park. Hot and out of breath, she falls at the river's edge. People are jumping into the river, escaping the blistering heat from the sun. Shedding her jacket, Carmen secures the medicine, the money, and the two-way radio in the plastic bag, stuffing it down in front of her pants. Sliding on the goggles, gun in hand, she falls into the river. Holding her breath, Carmen stays under the water as long as possible. Popping up for a quick breath, she locates her house. Back under, she swims toward the house. Back up for another breath of air, she screams. A dead body floats by. Back under for more strokes. Surfacing again, Carmen is pulled back under. A drowning man is holding on to her shoe. She's kicking. She kicks him with her other foot again and again, but he will not let go. Pointing the gun in his direction, the drowning man does not let go of her foot. Struggling to stay afloat, Carmen takes her free foot, kicking off the shoe and the man. Gasping for air, she pops back up out of the water, sucking in as much air as possible. Locating her house for the second time, she swims home. Finally, at the river's edge, in front of her house, Carmen struggles to get out of the water. The sun is boiling. Taking the two-way from the bag, I'm at the riverbank in front of the house. It's so hot. If I don't make it, the medicine, it's in the plastic bag. Running towards her house, she collapses in the front yard. She crawls around the back. Turning the doorknob, it's locked. Pressing the button on the two-way, she whispers, "Help me." Clutching her two-way, Courtney crawls up the stairs from the basement. After a struggle, she opens the door. Carmen is passed out. Carmen's eyes finally flutter open. Courtney is right there in her face. Hey, how long have I been asleep? About a week. A week? Wincing, Carmen tries to move. Hey, lay back down. You need your rest. And besides, it's only been 3 days. Liar. What happened? You went to get the medicine. And thank you, by the way. The sun was so hot. You swam across the river and then collapsed at the back door. Flashbacks of the guard shooting at her, the dead man floating, the man grabbing her foot and finally collapsing at the door runs through her mind. Noticing the bandages on her hands, she touches her face. What happened? Your face. Your face and hands were exposed to the sun that day. As far as I can tell, you have 2nd-degree burns. Touching her bandaged face again, still exhausted from surviving her ordeal, Carmen presses deep into her pillow and cries. Thank you for listening to the incident. Let's talk about it on the blog. The blog address, they're in the show notes. See you next week for part 3.